So, what's up people and welcome to the Mission 112-2 discussion of Spy Family. So Mission 112 Part 2 came out about a week ago, and as always I will leave a link to this mission that's currently being shown on the publisher's official website, Manga Plus, for free to the North American audience. So if you're interested, I will go take a look at it before they pull this mission back. Okay, well, I have to say that with the reading of this chapter, as goofy as these two characters are, the unnamed boy and Tertius, they're both such goofballs that I'm really starting to actually like these characters. And this chapter really shows not only just how weird these two characters are, but that Anya, she's matured quite a bit. Possibly not in the best of ways, because we're starting to see that Anya is becoming a lot more comfortable with being able to use her powers to manipulate other people. The innocent Anya that we saw in the first few chapters of Spy Family is gone, and we see more and more of her. You remember when she actually manipulated everybody? When she punched Damien, everybody came and accused her of punching Damien, and then she, of course, pretended like it was because Damien stepped on Becky's foot. Well, I guess now she's gone up to a next level, because here she's really using her powers to kind of manipulate this entire situation. And it starts out basically it's a continuation from the last chapter, where these two characters, Tertius and the unnamed boy, the booger boy, is sitting there going, what the heck happened that we're now in this situation where they have to fight? And so everybody's worried about them, fighting. And so with Anya being in class, Anya starts noticing that everybody's saying maybe Anya could resolve this situation. She is, after all, the one that stopped the hijacking on the bus single-handedly. And Anya, reading their minds, was starting to figure, oh, they're looking for a hero, so I guess I better step up to save the day, right? And she basically says, in the name of world peace, let's keep our cool, gentlemen, to these two boys, right? And both are sitting there, One is like, I have no idea what's going on, but I might as well pretend like I'm cool. And the other one's, Tertius is like, who is this little kitten who has tried to stop us? But both of them are like thinking, what the heck is going on? And now who's this girl that came up? And in fact, Tertius recognizes her and goes, oh my gosh, she's that girl that punched that Damien dude. And I better be careful with this one. And Anya immediately goes to that unknown boy and says, I've come to put an end to this fight. This war that basically you created when you shot that booger at that guy, right? And of course, this unknown boy's terrified because he found out that she knows about his secret, right? And of course, he's wondering how is she going to help with this situation? And immediately, Anya turns around and does a sucker attack to Tertius. And she's about to successfully grab that booger when all of a sudden something makes her freeze, right? And in the beginning, I'm like, oh, does somebody else have special powers and is freezing her in place? But of course, what we find out is that she, of course, comes to her senses and realizes, like, I'm not about to grab somebody else's booger, no matter how tense the situation is, right? But of course, in the case of Tertius, he just saw this terrifying woman who beat the crap out of Damien turn around and almost attack. And she's terrified of the situation and is wondering if she's going to bite his head off, right? And of course, Anya is reading his mind and is becoming angry because she's not that sort of person, right? And so she's trying to figure out how she can become the hero by getting that booger off. But in the meantime, Tertius is sitting there trying to catch his cool again and tries to hand a flower to Anya to offer as a gift, right? And he's thinking, yeah, a gift of a flower should basically warm a girl's heart. But of course, he doesn't realize it's Anya. And the moment Anya looks at this flower, she's like, I could use this for my own manipulation. And immediately that look of evil in Anya's face terrifies the crap out of Tertius. And then we get this really sympathetic backstory. Well, not really a sympathetic backstory, but we do get a backstory of Tertius practicing his swordsmanship with his trainer. And his trainer is giving him a hard time, saying that he has to man up or he's not going to be able to survive in this world. And you see the scene where the two of them are looking into the distance and the trainer is telling him you have to become a strong man so that you will be able to take on the problems of the world and lead this country. And so Anya is looking at this backstory as if it was some sort of drama show or something. And she notices that Tertius is sitting there going, if Anya is going to attack me, then I gotta stand up with confidence, right? And so Anya, immediately knowing how terrified Tertius is, attacks him with the flower. And Tertius, of course, tries to duck. But since Anya can read his mind, she knows exactly where he's going. And Tertius is terrified because no matter what he does, Anya is coming straight for him. And of course, what Anya is trying to do is use the flower to brush off the booger. But of course, all Tertius sees is this psychotic girl coming after him. And she would have succeeded too if it wasn't for this crick in her neck, which suddenly stops her and makes her fall on her tracks. But lo and behold, because she threw the flower at him, the flower hits him in the face and he accidentally brushes off that booger while brushing off the flower. And of course, the booger is falling to the floor and the unknown boy grabs it and replaces it with a leaf and says, this is what I was trying to brush off from you all along, to Tertius. And Tertius realizes that, oh, this boy was speaking the truth. So I guess there is no reason to continue to clash with this kid, right? And the teacher comes in right at that time. And Tertius, being a decent guy, actually apologizes at that point. And this unknown booger boy says, yeah, that's no problem. And thanks Anya for helping out by patting her on the back. But Anya's like, don't you pat me on the back with that booger hand of yours. And so all is well. And Tertius goes to Anya and says, it was a good thing we ended up in peace because I would have defeated both of you. And that would have been too violent. Maybe I could make up for this by giving you a legendary jewel when I return to my kingdom. But of course, Anya is reading his mind and realizes that there's no such thing and tells Tertius that he shouldn't lie, right? And so Tertius is really getting surprised by this entire thing because not only did she almost defeat him, but it now seems that she could even, read his mind, right? Or what he believes is reading his mind. And so with that, he realizes that the people of Astania, even though he is a prince, are very special people, especially that girl, right? And he's sitting there thinking, if I don't do something, my little kingdom will never be able to rival all these great people. And so probably thinking about that past time with his trainer, he's really thinking about how he can better himself in the future. And so basically that tense moment in class ends. And after school, Becky goes to meet Anya. And all of a sudden notices that there's these two boys following her. And we finally find out what that unknown boy's name is. His name is Freddy. And of course, Tertius is continuing to follow her because he probably feels that hanging out with her is going to make him even a better person, And so Anya is sitting there with a smug look on her face saying the power of Anya Forger just secured world peace. And of course, the world peace that she's talking about is not Operation Strix. The world peace that she's talking about is saving the world through the war that would have been created by a booger on a guy's face, right? And Becky, of course, is really surprised because Anya has basically created a harem, and that has, of course, surprised Damien, who was also standing in the back. So you are starting to see how this is going to play out. Probably Damien is going to become extremely sensitive to this entire situation, and I could see a Tertius-Damien rivalry starting to come up, where Damien is thinking maybe Tertius is his rival, but of course it's a complete misunderstanding because I don't think Tertius so far yet has fallen for Anya. It's just that he probably feels that hanging out with her is a good thing, you know? And of course, Freddy definitely doesn't have any major feelings for Anya yet, right? But the year is young, and for all we know, Anya will create a harem, which will of course create a very interesting situation between Damien and these other three boys, right? So this isn't even a relationship triangle. This is a relationship square or a star with all the players focusing on Anya. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Anya plays this game. But knowing that Anya is a real goofball, she'll probably figure out a way of screwing this all up. And then through sheer luck of whatever she does, will get it to work right in the end anyway. Now, there was a commenter in my last mission discussion named Latoya Thunderstar, who pointed out that this unnamed boy, or Freddy that we know now, seemed to be acquainted with Damien's butler, Jeeves. And if that's the case, I don't think this kid is Jeeves' son. First of all, Jeeves seems very young. But the other is that this guy seems to be too much of a goofball to have been raised by Jeeves, right? But there may be some sort of relationship between this unknown kid and the butler. And that will definitely become extremely interesting, especially because Damien is right now being ultra sensitive to this relationship between Freddy and Anya. And so if this is true, then it definitely will be creating probably even more drama in the future between Damien and these two kids. And it'll be interesting to see how Tatsuya Endo moves this along. But this is getting to be a very interesting, I don't know what to call it. It's not a rom-com. It's definitely a real weird, complex relationship drama that's being created. And where Tatsuya Endo's taking this, especially when Operation Strix is the goal for Anya, will be interesting to see. And so we'll have to see if Tatsuya Endo will continue with this character development of all these new characters that come out in Mission 113. And when it comes out, I'll bring out another video. I hope you join me at that time. But this is the Mission 112 Part 2 discussion of Spy Family. If you read it, what'd you think about it? Do you feel that these characters are pretty hilarious the way I do? Any comments will be greatly appreciated. And until the next episode, happy manga reading, and as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.